This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
It appears that there is more and more fire and smoke enveloping the very top of the building.
I'm wondering if Jennifer Oberstein is still on the phone. Do we still have Jennifer on the phone? She's actually not on the phone.
The Bay Area firefighter has returned from the rubble. In his own words, he tells us about a few days on the job that he'll never forget.
My name's Garrett Good. I'm 24. I've been doing some type of search and rescue since I was 18. Once the first building came down, you were like, I can't believe that just happened.
You helped lead a group of people through yesterday on behalf of FEMA and others inside. And overnight, what I find quite interesting, you went way below the street level to the subway area. What did you find beneath there?
So the imprints of the ponds, the healing ponds or remembrance ponds, that was actually the imprints of the building. And then the buildings behind us here used to be the Customs Building, World Trade Center 4 and 5. So when you see me in that video and I'm standing there and I'm looking out towards the site and I'm talking to John and I'm sitting there just like, it's the worst thing I've ever fucking seen. That was pretty much right over here. Inside here, there was little restaurants that had courtyards, kind of like a food court in a mall. And this doorway and this pathway right here is when they found a firefighter or a police officer, they would bring them through here covered in a flag. And the first time I kind of lost my shit and cried, other than the first day, was day 4. I was sitting here with an ATF and a couple FBI agents having lunch, taking a break from working on the pile, and a bunch of firefighters brought a firefighter covered in a flag through that door. And so we all stood up at attention. It got really quiet. They brought him through, and there was something about seeing that. I immediately bolted out the back door here towards the marina, made a left, and I just started bawling. And I cried hysterically for like 20 minutes in the corner. Then I said, okay, put my gear back on. I said, okay, time to go back to work. And that's what I did. But this is where they used to bring everybody through, because the morgue was right over here on the street in a refrigerated truck. The helicopters, that's interesting, because they had helicopters 24/7 flying around the top of the site, providing security, military helicopters with guns and bombs to make sure that we were okay down here in the southern part of Manhattan. So you just heard a couple of helicopters go over, which I'm confident they're trying to be polite for the remembrance today at the site. But that's interesting what that triggers. Hearing that is like, that's interesting, because it wasn't quiet like this. There was all kinds of noise and trucks banging and helicopters and all kinds of stuff. Most of the trees in here all got blown down. the force of the collapse here in this park, all these trees got knocked down. They were stumps. They were on their side. The branches looked like an atomic bomb had gone through here and cleaned them out. And everything was covered in dust. It looked like snow. Even though it was all dusty and all that stuff, it was still kind of a refuge to step back off the pile for a minute, come to the park, kind of catch your breath, collect your thoughts, and then go next door here. The feeding boats were. It was all catered. They'd bring food in. They would come across New Jersey and deliver the food by boat. But even then, the park was destroyed. It was still a place of refuge for us to kind of come and, cry a little bit if you needed to, go back to work, kind of catch your breath, get out of the dust and the dirt for a minute. Because as you feel now, there's that breeze coming in off the Hudson. That felt nice because it was hot out here. Not only because of the weather, but all the burning rubble that was sitting here, putting off a lot of heat and steam and smoke and fire. So when we'd come back from the marina, we're getting supplies or bringing bodies in through the financial center to the morgue, or coming through the marina from the park that's behind us, we would re-enter the site back again through right here. There was debris. A lot of this glass was gone. There was debris. All that glass was blown out, but the structure was still there. And we'd enter under here, but West Side Highway, you can see all that stuff where it's all cleared out. That was all debris, every single bit of it. And that was one of the inside 3 perimeters they had around the site. So when you got to that point right there, you knew that's when you're going back into work.
It was dynamic walking into the building for the first time. You had all the rescue workers and families of rescue workers and families of people that had perished that day. So you were surrounded by people that were there to support you and that were like you.
It's interesting being back here. It's still hallowed ground. It's not a museum to me. It's a mausoleum. It's not a place to come and, ironically, as we're filming, to snap photos and giggle and tell jokes and make sure your kids aren't dropping their ice cream. It's a place to come and reflect and remember some things. And, for some people, I think that come here, it brings up things that might have been compartmentalized for a long time. So, wow, not even downstairs yet. So just, try to remember as you come here and as you engage, you engage this experience, that you have the right mindset and the right attitude doing it, because this is hallowed ground for very many of us. Very many of us. So in the museum, the first thing you do is you go down. That in itself brought back a lot of immediate emotion and some chills and some tingling, spidey sense stuff. Your instinct to turn around and go back up is almost overwhelming. You're like, I'm not coming back down here again. As I walked up here and kind of stepped to the ledge, you almost feel like I was taken back for just a second. to a point where I was on a ledge, but there was a collapsed pit in front of me, and I know like this is gonna hold me up, but I walked forward and I squatted my legs and grabbed onto the things. I didn't want to fall over like I was when I was crawling around the site. That's kind of interesting.
For me, is I spent a reasonable time at the World Trade Center site as a rescue worker underground due to my training and experience and the teams I was a part of. We did a lot of stuff below the mezzanine level.
It's interesting to walk through here and see the Vesey Street Survivor Stairs, and they call it that because through these stairs, when the buildings came down, these steps, this area is where people actually survived the collapse of the towers, where people right above here did not. My interpretation of this is each little square is that light reflection of life that still exists down here in the reflecting pool that sits above us. That's why, to me, they're all a little shade differently of each other, and they're all unique as the people were that we lost that day. And they reflect on this wall as they do in our lives and our memories. And we shall never erase or forget that. I saw this piece of steel, and this rugged, jagged piece of steel, and my first mental thought was, hello, old friend. Long time no see, because we became very close during those weeks and times, very intimate. And right before I walked away, I noticed that it said "saved" in the top corner, and the irony of that was not lost on me whatsoever.
Again, yesterday, as you indicated, he said the chances of finding anyone alive are very, very small at this point. It's been a week since anyone has been pulled out alive from the rubble you see behind me.
They're using sophisticated electronic listening devices and dogs to detect any sign of life. There are American flags all over the site and all over the workers, and heart-wrenching posters with photos of the missing.
It was covered with these photos here. I'll show you. They were just plastered everywhere. And they have some over here and over here. You walk here, and everywhere you go, you see them. And you sit here and wonder, did the arm with the ring that I found belong to her? Was that the guy's whose spine I cut out with bolt cutters that had an I-beam through them? Was that the skull fragments that I found? And you have no idea. And you look at them, and this is what keeps me up at night. This is what makes me dream. Just right here. They have an exhibit here at the museum that has a bunch of pictures, and because they're following me throughout the site due to safety and rescue work stuff. So this here is Andrea Boer, and she was one of the FEMA Public Affairs folks. All these pictures we're about to see, I'm standing next to her. She's either behind me or beside me when these pictures are taken. So the video you see of Raleigh the rescue dog that's coming over the apex on the rope with the flag that's draped on it, that is also the apex ropes that we used to bring 4 firefighters that were found on the pile back over to us to get evacuated and carried out by their brothers. So just to put this in perspective, the crevice from the pile, if you look up these ladders, okay, so these are ladders put together. You're talking 65 feet of ladders coming from below the mezzanine level, below the street level, going up. We had those ladders going down, imagine it going down, and then apexing up. So it took hours to get all the way down and climb up all these ladders, let alone carrying buckets, water, equipment, gear, or evacuating human remains and other things that we found. So these are the lines of firefighters and cops that we would call the bucket brigades as they came up, and that's the sphere. This is out towards the mezzanine level of the site. These are the World Trade Center badges. These came out later. These were the first ones. They were done by hand, cut and printed in an emergency office up in North Manhattan or Upper Manhattan. And then you come over here, you see some of the first FEMA rescue dogs. This is a FEMA task force from Los Angeles.
Once the building started coming down, the windows fell out and stuff like that, they cleared all that out. And we went in there to get some more medical supplies, that's some oxygen containers and some IV bags and stuff like that in there. And they said, get out. And they said, get out, the building's coming down. So, running for our lives, just dropped everything and ran. Just ran and ran and ran. That's it. Ran for your life. And how far can you run? You know, when you're in a building, how far can you run? Where can you go? These things are 60 stories high. Look around. Where can you go?
You see how it hangs over? And I'm 6'2", and this is what we crawled from. We'd put our hand up here and swing across like a gorilla or a monkey. Sometimes it'd be hot, we'd burn our hands, sometimes we wouldn't. But if you see that, you feel safe at a point knowing it's bolted into a wall. But at 9/11 when we were here, it wasn't bolted into anything. Thinking at any point, yeah, okay, this could be my last step or my last crossover or my last action here at 9/11. It's just the way it was.
So when the 9/11 Memorial Museum first got created and organized, they started reaching out to the community of rescue workers and some residents down in Lower Manhattan there and asking for artifacts. When I say artifacts, they were looking for things that they could use as exhibits inside the Memorial Museum. We would like to take your stuff, treat it with a great amount of respect, and get it out to people to see as well.
So, you know, they say even heroes have heroes. John Field is my hero, and this is his jacket. And when I see this jacket, I expect this little stocky, angry man that I just love to, he doesn't love to hug me. And every time I see him, I wrap my big arms around him because I love the guy so much. He saved my life. We've been down here filming at the 9/11 Museum most of the day. We're actually going to head over to 10 House real quick, which is Fire Station 10. We've been the guest here at the museum. There's some really neat surprises coming up. This is Engine 10 and Ladder 10 of the 10 House Fire Station. I climbed on top of this fire station 15 years ago or so and planted a flag here at 9/11 after the World Trade Center had come down and the planes hit. And I built a relationship with these guys inside. I actually lived here in this building for about 3 days straight. It's incredibly hard to think that all of what the World Trade Center was stood on this foundation.
And my brother, Mark Roswell.
Through my pain, I became the man I am. Through pain till I became the man I am. Through all my pain till I became the man I am. In my own words.
I hope we never see anything like that again.
Detail for the World Trade Center on the air. Detail told you that's the Boston was it. During that time, my wife said they are route. They can't get in contact with them in regards to the ETA.